To understand my story, you're going to need a bit of background information. First of all, my dad's family are the biggest Michigan fans you will ever meet. My grandpa, all of his brothers, and several of their children all attended the University of Michigan. My dad was raised to love Michigan football. Therefore, I was raised to love Michigan football. I remember growing up on Saturdays watching the Wolverines play in the big house and singing the fight song, Hail to the Victors. The second thing you're going to need to know is that there was once a Michigan football coach named Bo Schembechler. Bo Schembechler is in the College Football Hall of Fame. He was the head coach of Michigan while my dad was growing up. He retired in 1989, but he stayed on at Michigan and would give the team pep talks every Thursday before a game. If you ever need some inspiration, you should YouTube Bo Schembechler's The Team Speech. Anyways, Bo Schembechler is my dad's hero. Now, I can count the number of times I've seen my dad cry on one hand. It's pretty surprising, but one of those times was in 2006, the day that Bo Schembechler passed away. I knew my dad was a big Michigan man, and it was a sad situation, but I thought it was a little bit extreme to be crying over the death of a man that he'd never even known. This was the day that my dad told me this story and why he feels an emotional connection to Bo Schembechler. In 1992, my grandpa found out that he was going to have open heart surgery due to his 4 clogged arteries in his heart. Clearly, this was less than an ideal situation. Open heart surgery is a very risky procedure and requires a lot of recovery time. Like my grandfather, Bo Schembechler had also had his fair share of heart problems. He himself had to have 2 quadruple heart bypass surgeries. Knowing this information, and wanting to give my grandpa a little bit of encouragement, my dad decided to write a handwritten letter addressed to Bo Schembechler at the Michigan football office. In the letter, he explained that his dad was a Michigan graduate and a huge fan of Bo Schembechler and the Michigan football as a whole. He closed the letter saying, "Go Blue." A few days later, my grandpa went in for surgery, and luckily the procedure went well. When he was healthy enough to go home, he found a package waiting for him at his house. When he opened the package, he was shocked. He found a football signed by the entire Michigan football team and a note with the Michigan crest on it. Inside was a handwritten note from Bo himself. He was wishing my grandpa a speedy recovery, telling him he knew exactly what he was going through and that he would get through it. My grandpa was shocked. He couldn't believe that a man he looked up to his whole life was writing him a note wishing him well after his surgery. To this day, the football and the note are framed in my grandpa's office. They're one of his prized possessions. I think this story shows the caring compassion of 2 great men making an effort to help my grandpa through a time of fear and uncertainty. First of all, my dad had no way of knowing if he would even get a response from Bo, but he took a chance on writing the letter just in the hope that he would reply and give my grandpa some encouraging words. Second, I'd like to call attention to the greatness of Bo Schembechler's action. He had never met my grandfather, and he never would meet him. My grandfather's well-being did not affect him in the least bit, but out of the goodness of his heart, he cared, and he took the time to write a letter and send a football to my grandpa just to make him feel better after his surgery. Bo will never know the impact this letter had on both my grandfather and my dad. It only heightened their admiration of him. My dad attributes my grandpa's speedy recovery to the encouragement from Bo. He really feels an emotional connection to him and is forever grateful for this man's kind words.